For the first time in history, they heard the sounds of bombs falling on their city. This is the modern way of declaring war.
It has invaded a neighbor so infinitesimally small that it could do no conceivable possible harm.
Some say Finland's fight against the Soviet Union was impossible from the start. How could tiny Finland beat one of the world's biggest armies? Well, after Germany and Russia made a shaky peace deal, Stalin wanted their land, especially the valuable nickel mines. So he tried to strong-arm Finland into giving up key territories to protect Leningrad. But Finland said no. They believed the West would help if things went south, but they were wrong. To be honest now, it's hard to say who really won the Winter War. This battle happened 3 months into the chaos of World War II, while all of Europe was burning with fights. The Soviet Union attacked Finland, but after 3 months, 1 week and 6 days, it was over. Finland lost almost 26,000 soldiers and gave up 11% of its land. The Soviets claimed victory, but paid a heavy price, losing between 127,000 and 168,000 soldiers. This is really horrifying. I mean, how? For every Finnish soldier who died, about 6 Soviet soldiers fell. Now, you also might be thinking, wait, how could this even happen? Well, to make you understand, I am highlighting one casual event of this war. It was daytime in 1939. The White Forest was full of Soviet soldiers moving like ghosts through deep snow that reached their waists. Their breath froze on their faces, turning their eyelashes white. The cold was brutal, below -30°C, colder than most had ever felt. Their leader, walking in the middle, suddenly tripped and fell face first into the snow. Before he could get up, a loud bang echoed through the trees. Someone shouted, "Sniper!" But another shot cut off the warning. Then another bang. The soldiers scattered, diving behind trees and rocks, trying to find the invisible enemy. Though there were 25 of them, enough to take down one man, they couldn't see a thing. No smoke, no glint, no breath in the air. It was like fighting a ghost. Bullets flew with a deadly rhythm, cracking through the forest. One by one, men dropped dead in the snow. Panic spread fast. Where was this ghost shooter? Some soldiers panicked and ran but fell after a few steps. Bullet after bullet flew until only one man was left, hiding behind a rock, trembling. How could one sniper kill them all from so far away? Before he could think more, the bullet found him. Minutes later, the snow rustled, and out came a short Finnish man, calm like a quiet lake. He stood 150 feet behind the Soviets, and they hadn't seen a thing. No fancy scope, just iron sights on his rifle. He spat snow from his mouth and watched his breath rise like smoke. This man was Simo Heiha, known as the White Death. Without a word, he packed up and walked back to camp. And that's just one story. The Finnish army was fierce and smart in every part of this war, no matter where you looked. On paper, the Soviets should have crushed tiny Finland easily. Their army was way bigger, but all winter long, they barely made any progress. When it ended, the Soviets looked like fools on the world stage. From the start, Finland's alliances were shaped by conflict. Germany was their buddy, Russia the enemy. They lived in uneasy peace, but never really trusted each other. The border, especially Karelia, was a big problem. Stalin was scared Germany would push Finland to join the war through Karelia. Since Finland didn't like the Soviets, this was a real worry. He knew he had to act fast. So, on November 26, 1939, in Manila village, Soviet soldiers claimed Finland attacked them. This gave the Soviets a reason to prepare for war, but later historians found no attack happened. Stalin made it up to justify invading. At 8 a.m. on November 30th, 1939, the Red Army struck. 500,000 Soviet soldiers poured into Finland, a country with just 3.6 million people. Another 500,000 were held in reserve. They attacked along almost the whole border, hitting weak spots fast like Germany did in Poland. The Soviets had huge numbers, 450,000 troops against Finland's 33,000 soldiers. They had thousands of planes and tanks. Finland had less than 70 planes and old tanks. Plus, Soviets built railroads to supply their army for a long fight. War had begun and Finland was up against impossible odds. When the fighting started, it took place in snowy forests all along the border. The Soviets wore dark uniforms and stuck out, while Finns dressed in white and hid in foxholes and bunkers, making them almost invisible. The Russians couldn't see them and panicked, getting picked off fast. The Finnish goal was simple: hold the line, wait for help from the UK, France, or Sweden, or hope Stalin got tired and made peace. Until then, surviving the brutal winter was their only job, and they did. Though the Finns lacked modern tanks and planes, they knew their land like no one else. They grew up in tough winters and were resourceful. While Russian soldiers struggled through waist-deep snow, Finns used skis to move fast and quietly. Finland set up booby traps and mines along the border, making the Soviets afraid to leave the main roads. Meanwhile, Finnish snipers hid in forests, dressed in white, waiting patiently to pick off soldiers and slow down convoys. Stalin hadn't put enough effort into updating his huge army before the war. Meanwhile, the simple but reliable Finnish gear worked well in the cold. The Mannerheim line held strong. It stretched 80 miles with 106 concrete bunkers. The Finns made the enemy's life as hard as possible, laying barbed wire everywhere and planting hundreds of mines and granite blocks in all the roads leading to the front. The Soviets kept trying to break through in December, attacking first near Taipale on the left and then at Suma on the right. But the Finns held their ground so well that even getting close was nearly impossible. At the Battle of Tolvajärvi, about 630 Finns died, but they captured nearly the same number of prisoners and killed almost 10 times that. The Soviets, confused and without orders, sometimes ran away, while others dug in and got trapped. The Finns called these trapped groups mottis, like piles of timber waiting to be cut up later. This win helped Finland hold the middle part of the country during the war, but times couldn't last. The Soviets had the bigger army from the start, and that helped them win. In February, they fixed their bad strategies and focused on breaking the Mannerheim line in the south. Instead of rushing vehicles in, they grouped them together and slowly pushed forward, supported by huge numbers of soldiers. The shelling was non-stop. On February 1st, 1940, they fired over 300,000 shells at the Finns. The Finns had been through the same freezing winter and tough conditions, but unlike the Soviets, they had no fresh soldiers or supplies coming in. Every day the Soviets sent more soldiers and armoured vehicles at them. In all of World War II, the Soviets had the highest number of deaths, over 27 million, way more than any other European country. A lot of this was because Stalin's strategy was to just throw men at problems. If they died, more would replace them, like water slowly wearing down a rock. Finally, on February 11th, 1940, the Mannerheim line broke. The Finns tried to fall back to the intermediate line, but it was too late. The Red Army finally had the momentum they lacked all winter and pushed forward through February and March. Mannerheim had hoped for foreign help to turn the tide, support from allies like the UK or France, but with each day it became clear no aid was coming. So, on March 13th, the Finnish government asked for a ceasefire. The country was beaten down and out of soldiers. The Karelian Isthmus and some ports went to the Soviets as part of the peace deal. Finland lost, or so it seemed. At the start, total defeat looked sure. The Soviets thought they'd win in 12 days, but after over 3 months, they only controlled 11% more land. Finland lost 25,904 soldiers, but killed about 160,000 Soviets and wounded around 100,000 more. Now, the question is, according to you, who is the real winner here? Tell us in the comments. That's a wrap for today's video. See you in the next video. Until then, take care, and thanks for watching.